Alright, what's up, guys? I didn't get as much done last night as I wanted to because the task that I have in front of me right now is extremely tedious. This is one of those things where it's like, it's just very tedious, like making sure that all of the variables and all of the objects are being saved properly, and that means that I have to go through, I have to do this process. Let's see, I've already done three of them, and I gotta do four and a half more times. It's just one of those things where it just takes forever, and you can't make any mistakes. There could be a bug, so you have to test it and everything like that. But I gotta do the process a bunch more times, and then I gotta make sure that you know I'm clearing all the variables properly, which I could probably be doing that in a better way or something like that. So with that said, if I had done things as just one streamlined object that had different, like a variable on it that determined that it was different rather than trying to do like a dozen different things, it would have been a lot easier. But then I would have had to have also created different entities that would get placed in lieu of the entities that I placed, which probably would be less efficient. I don't know. Um, that's going to be kind of hard to explain in a way that's going to sound logical. Uh, but basically, the way it works is if your editor is designed in such a way where you know all the objects that you place are placeholder objects that then tell the engine to place other objects, then you end up with twice, exponentially more objects in the world, if that makes any sense. So, you know what I mean? It's like it's not. So the way I'm doing it right now avoids that problem, which should be fine. So yeah, that's that. I just got to get this done. Once this is done, though, I think this is probably the last of the really tedious stuff, other than the fact that I have to have the parser set up properly for building stuff in the first revulsion. See, now, in Revulsion, the game itself, the engine is going to read these files differently. It's going to read them in a more optimized manner, where it places everything instead of as separate objects that replicate. They're really just going to be really fast-placed components to a single world space object that that is all static objects, where there's mostly static objects. In other words, um, there's a different way that the engine, when you're actually playing the game without the editor mode turned on, it loads the level in a much more efficient manner, and it doesn't require any kind of replication or anything like that. For most things, some stuff will still replicate, um, but for the most part, the only thing that, like, when you load things in a more efficient manner, um, on the server, you notice that there's actually like saved spawn points and stuff now. Um, when you load something in a more efficient manner, it makes it so that let's see, how can I explain? Like, um, the object itself. Well, I see. I forget kind of what I was trying to get at. Is that the object itself is what was I gonna say? I don't know. I'm kind of blanking at the moment. Honestly, I really just need to get this monotonous stuff over with, and then I'll be able to get to the fun stuff where it'll be a little bit easier and stuff like that. Like, I guess that I'm not quite out of the woods when it comes to the monotonous stuff just yet, though. Mainly because the engine itself also needs to parse the files, and it needs to be done in the more efficient manner. So let's see. I can kind of show what I'm kind of talking about. So like when it comes to meshes, in the actual no world spawn, right? So map object meshes, you'll see here. I'm just gonna grab everything from the data, those instead of doing this process where I just grab all the mesh transforms and basically assign them, all the variables to the correct things. Um, I will do it differently where I just grab the mesh data table row um, right here, and then add seed components um, to the world spawn that are all static, and it just instantly happens. Like when you load the level this way, it like instantly loads. Like there's no inefficiencies. There's nothing. It's a lot faster frame rate wise. You can like feel a difference when you're flying around the map and stuff. Also, when you're in this mode, it allows you to spawn more quickly, like and everything like that. So this will have to happen after I'm done with this tedious. So there's like another tedious step where I go through each of these objects and everything like that. Now, certain objects will only need to appear on the server. Yeah, I think this is what I was trying to mention before. Um, there's really no need to replicate like a spawn point, for example, if it's not the editor. If it's not in the editor, then the object doesn't even need to replicate. The only thing that needs to know what's going on is the server at that point. So things like the multi-managers, all that stuff, all of those can just be non-replicating objects. Like literally, they can be actors. They can do their thing, but they don't even need to have replication at all. So on the on the more efficient side of things, like yeah, I won't even have them set to being replicated or anything like that. If it spawns a monster, then the monster will be the thing that replicates, not the. So that cuts down on network traffic like dramatically. When you're playing the game and loading it in the editor and everything like that, it needs to replicate all those objects because it needs to make sure that everybody's on the same page and that it's loading the correct file and blah blah blah, right? The server is the one who is loading the file and all that. Like it's yeah, it's definitely. Ugh, I just need to get done with this. I'm just gonna be done with it, and once it's done, it's done. Okay, so with that said, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna end this one. There's not really much else to talk about other than the fact that I just needed to get this in place. Sorry if I'm like blanking out because it's just like I'm mentally tired. But uh, so far so good. It is working. Everything is happening as it's supposed to. So there you go. All right, take it easy, guys.